Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services webinar regarding pass-through and composite filings. My name is Richard Carter, and we're so glad you have decided to spend part of your day with us here today on this, the 24th day of January 2025, and yet what is proving to be another cold day outside here in the state of Connecticut. We have a busy program lined up for you with 4 presenters. We've got Melissa Pescatelli here. She's going to give an overview of the agency. Then Crystal Hale is going to come in, and Crystal's going to do the heavy lifting and discuss pass-through and composite filings. And then Randy Haraprasad, well, Randy's here in his usual spot, and he will discuss all things MyconneCT. And then Kelly McLaughlin will swoop in and give a brief presentation of or tour rather, of the Taxpayer Education Center. And then we will have a brief Q&A of the most frequently asked questions we have received via emails, phone calls, and through MyconneCT about pass-through and composite filings. We're going to be talking about everything except for probably the most important thing, which is the NFL playoffs this weekend. Maybe we can get somebody to weigh in with some analysis, but that's the batting order. Melissa's batting leadoff, Crystal's in the 2 spot, Randy's hitting in the hole, Kelly's hitting cleanup, and the Q&A is batting last. Now, before we get into any of that, I just want to bring a couple of matters to your attention. If you have the time, by all means, please visit our website, and you're going to hear this address a few times today, which is located at portal.ct.gov/DRS. Now, you'll find the usual forms and pamphlets and booklets, but there's other things out there I'd like to bring to your attention. We have policy statements, there's rulings, there's information publications. We actually have a research library out there too, and we have a brand new newsletter. That is not easy to say, brand new and newsletter, tax topics. And you can find that all out on our website, plus much, much more. Our web address again is portal.ct.gov/DRS. Check it out if you can. The other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is our contact information. That way, if you happen to have a question, whether it's today or next week or next month, you can always give us a call. Our phone numbers are 860-297-5962. You can also reach us at 1-800-382-9463. If you want to send us an email, by all means, please do so. Our email address is drs@ct.gov. Or if you happen to be familiar with MyconneCT, you can always send us a message that way as well. It'll still get here. The other matter I'd like to bring to your attention, check us out on social media. By all means, friend, like, subscribe, friend us some more if you can. We're all on all the usual suspects. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and YouTube. The other thing I'd like to bring to your attention is we do have other webinars coming up. This, as I mentioned, is the first part of a 4-part series, and we'll get into the other 3 parts in just a second. I'm going to go out of order here a little bit. So we do have a Connecticut income tax webinar coming up. That's on January 29th. We do have a pensions and annuities webinar. That's coming up on February 26th, and we just added the EITC one. We did one yesterday, but we are going to do another one. That one is I'm having a tough time, is on February 27th, and then we have the other 3 parts in the pass-through series with webinars on February 7th, February 21st, and March 7th. Oh, and yes, while March might come in like a lion, it's going to go out with another Connecticut income tax webinar on March 20th. And all the start times on that are 10 a.m. Now, to register for the webinars, normally we have a yellow banner out there, but because we have so many webinars now, we kind of had to hide the yellow banner. So there's 2 paths for you to go if you want to register for the webinar. First, you have to go to our website, which is located at portal.ct.gov/DRS. And you can scroll down to, I believe, the Taxpayer Education Center. Oh, yeah, you can hit the events calendar, whatever way you want to go there, Suzanne. Here we go. On the Taxpayer Education Center, we can get to it from there where you can register. Or if we scroll up a little bit, yep, there it is. Thank you. Or if we go, the other path is the 2025 tax events calendar. So you can register either way. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. First up is Melissa Pescatelli, and Melissa is here to discuss what is going on with the agency. I am not going to ask her to chime in on the NFL playoffs, because we all know where she stands with that, as she has these red color glasses that just say Chiefs. So we're not going to get fair analyzation on anything when it comes to the NFL. But despite that, good morning, Melissa. Good to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carter, for that warm introduction. I'm delighted to be here with you today to discuss these important tax changes impacting pass-through entities. Good morning, everyone. I am Melissa Pescatelli, the Taxpayer Services Division Chief. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the first session of the Department of Revenue Services four-part series of pass-through entity and composite tax webinars. These webinars are designed specifically to help pass-through entities prepare for filing the 2024 Connecticut pass-through entity and composite income tax returns. We are pleased to bring you this event today, which will provide you with important updates and electronic filing information for pass-through entities to successfully file their Connecticut tax returns. We have some very knowledgeable team members with us today to provide you with an overview of the important tax changes impacting 2024, as well as a live demonstration of how to file your Connecticut pass-through entity and composite tax returns in our modernized filing and paying system. This will help you get familiar with the DRS online filing and paying platform, and will let you know how to get assistance from the department's trained professionals. I encourage you to check out MyconneCT and make the department's website a favorite on your device. This will make it easy for you to check back often for any tax updates and developments that may impact your filings. Beyond that, should you have any questions or issues that arise as a result of today's presentation, do not hesitate to contact us. Our team of consumer information representatives stands ready to answer any questions that you may have with any of your tax filing or payment matters. These friendly and knowledgeable employees are available to assist you on the phone or in person at our 450 Columbus Boulevard walk-in office. They are available Monday through Friday between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. They can help you with any questions that you may have, such as, how do I set up a profile? How do I change my address information? How can I file my returns or view previously filed returns and payments? How do I send a web message to DRS? And also, where can I find updates on our Taxpayer Education Center? You can reach out to our consumer information staff at 860-297-5962. You can also email your questions anytime to drs@ct.gov. Furthermore, if you happen to need assistance with a procedural matter or navigating through the various bureaus of our department, you can always reach out to our new Office of Constituent Services. The Office of Constituent Services staff will be able to direct you to the right area of the department that is assigned to your specific tax matter. Please check out our new Office of Constituent Services webpage for more information. Now again, thank you for attending our webinar this morning, and remember the staff at our department stand ready to help and will be an important resource for your success. Mr. Carter, it's now over back to you.
Thank you, Melissa. Go Bills. Okay, still to come, we have MyconneCT, we have a tour of the Taxpayer Education Center, and the Q&A. But first, Crystal Hale is here, and Crystal is going to give us a pastiche of information when it comes to composite and pass-through entities. Good morning, Crystal.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Carter. How are you today?
Fantastic, thank you.
Wonderful, great to hear. All right, everyone, so welcome to the first webinar of a 4 series regarding the overview of the composite and pass-through entity tax return changes. So before I go into it, I do want to let you know that today is a very brief general overview of the changes of the forms, the form names, and the basic filing requirements. So the subsequent 2, 3, and 4 webinars, we do plan on going a little bit more in depth. Webinar 2, we're looking into going over how the returns communicate with each other and how to complete a Schedule CTK1. Webinars 3 and 4, we do expect to go over some examples of completing a return and the corresponding Schedule CTK1s. So please, If there's any other things that you may want to review, there will be a form or a survey coming out after this first webinar. And everything is fluid. We can change webinars as needed and as requested by you. So please make sure to fill that out so we can gear the following webinars to your needs. All right, so what we're all here for. The first thing I want to talk about are the changes between 2023 and 2024. So if you have filed a 2023 return for Connecticut, it would have been under the form CT 1065, CT 1120 SI, pass-through entity tax return. This was a form required for any entity conducting business in Connecticut or receiving subsidiary income from Connecticut sources. This was a required form, and there were two bases. There was the standard and alternative base. So maybe you have experience filing under both of those bases. As for 2024, there are now two separate forms. We've got the 2024 form CT PET, which is the pass-through entity tax return. This return is optional. The required form for 2024 is form CT 1065 CT 1120 SI, now known as the Composite income tax return. This is the required form for entities conducting business in Connecticut or receiving income from flow-through entities. The due date has not changed for calendar year filers. It is March 15th of the calendar of the following year. And for those that are not calendar year filers, it is the 15th day of the third month following the close of that taxable year. For the composite income tax return, payments are required to be made for non-resident, non-corporate members and members that are pass-through entities. For the optional PET return, we are now using one base, so it may look very similar to the alternative base from 2023. Some additional changes are that NOLs from prior years can no longer be reported. The PE credit has stayed the same at least for 87.5%. And then under the composite return, that PE tax credit is actually carried forward from the CT-PET. Lastly, estimates are still required for form CT-PET, but are not required for the composite income tax return. All right, so who must file the form CT 1065 CT 1120 SI, which I will now refer to as the composite return. So like I stated before, every PE that does business in Connecticut or has income derived from or connected with sources within Connecticut must file this composite return, regardless of your amount of income. So if you've been around before, this form is very similar to the prior 2017 form CT 1065 CT 1120 SI. So before we went to the pass-through entity tax, we were under the composite return, which the 2024 is very similar. The great thing is there is no change to the calculation of Connecticut source income. And once that composite return is complete, Schedule CTK1 should still be issued to all members. There are composite tax payment requirements. Estimate payments are not required for the composite return. And payments on extension, if you'd like to file an extension, must be made on or before March 15th of the following year for calendar year filers. So all payments for your liability must be made by the due date of the return or on extension and filed by 9/15. Payments are required to be paid on behalf of non-resident, non-corporate members. These include non-resident individuals, non-resident trusts, and non-resident estates, and also members that are pass-through entities. Direct and indirect PE tax credits, so if the PE itself is electing to file a pass-through entity tax return, or received an indirect credit from a subsidiary pass-through entity, those payments will offset the composite income tax liability for the taxable members. And any excess PE credits or subsidiary income tax payments for the taxable members would be refunded directly to the pass-through entity. All right, now who must file the 2024 form CT-PET? That is our new pass-through entity tax return. Please note that any entity may elect to file this form. It is not required. but it would be in addition to the composite return. All right, so if you are electing it, you would then be filing two tax returns. You'd be filing the Connecticut composite tax return and the pass-through entity tax return. So how is the election made? This has been a question for the past year. And please, you no need to send us any type of requests to elect. It's a very, very simple election. All you do is on a timely filed composite return, so Form CT 1065, CT 1120 SI, you would just check the box at the bottom of the first page saying, I am electing to file this pass-through entity tax return, and then correspondingly file that CTPET. Now, the term timely is very important here. If you are a calendar year filer, you must make this election on or before March 15th. Or if you are going to be filing later, please make sure to file an extension of time to file. That would still be deemed timely filed, provided you file on or before September 15th of the following tax year. If you are choosing to elect to file the 2024 Form CTPET, please note that the election is irrevocable and it cannot be amended. The election is also made on an annual basis. So if you choose to file the PET in 2024, you may choose not to elect it in 2025, and that is okay, as long as you are not checking the box on the timely filed composite return. Once again, if the decision to file or not file the pass-through entity tax return is made, you cannot revoke that or elect in, even if you are filing an amended return. Now let's go over the pass-through entity tax payment requirements. Estimated tax payments are still required for the Form PET. Tax is paid on the Connecticut source income for non-corporate members and the unsourced income of resident individuals. As I stated before, that's very similar to the alternative base from 2023. Lastly, the PE credit distributed to members and reported on the composite return is 87.5% of the pass-through entity tax. So that is no change from 2023. How are you going to file the composite and pass-through entity tax returns? Both of these forms must be filed and paid electronically. These returns can be filed and paid through our MyconneCT system, which Randy has generously offered to go over how to make those payments and also how to correspond with us, or also our modernized e-filing programs, of which we have relationships with multiple software vendors. Lastly, I just wanted to go over the estimated tax payment requirements. Once again, this is only for the pass-through entity tax, and there is no change to the payment requirements and how underpayment interest is calculated as there is for 2023. So every PE whose required annual payment is equal to or greater than $1,000 must make estimated payments in 4 installments. The required annual payment is the lesser of the current year's PE tax shown on Part 1 Schedule A, Line 2A, 90% of that, or the full PE tax shown on Part 1 Schedule A, Line 2A of the return for the previous taxable year. Once again, estimates are not required for the composite return, but the payment of liability is due on or before the due date of the return, which for calendar year filers is March 15th. And I think that wraps it up. We have some resources that Kelly is going to go over and show where they are. Please do your homework too. Take a look at this information. Pull up the 2024 Composite Income Tax information page, which has a lot of information regarding the due dates, how to file, and the basic information. Also look into our forms and instructions that really go over line by line how you're going to determine Connecticut source income. These are available for both our composite income tax return, which is Form CT 1065, CT 1120 SI, and the pass-through entity tax return, which is now Form CT PET. Lastly, you have access through our page to the Connecticut General Statutes and also our DRS e-Assistant. So I look forward to receiving responses and comments and feedback as to what you would like to see in the following webinars, and we will try to incorporate it as much as possible. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, fantastic job, Crystal. A lot of great information there. For those of you that might be filtering in late, just to let you know, this webinar will post to our website in probably about a week's time. So if there's anything that you missed, especially Crystal's part, it'll be out there for you. And that web address, in case you missed it, is portal.ct.gov/DRS. Now, still to come is Kelly's portion of the program with a tour of the Taxpayer Education Center and a brief Q&A. But first, let's bring in Randy Hariprasad. Randy is a principal examiner in electronic filing unit, and Randy is here to give you a brief, quick tour, if you will, if that's possible, of MyconneCT. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Mr. Carter. Hello, everyone. My name is Randy Hariprasad, and I work here at the Connecticut Revenue Services Electronic Filing. And today I'll show you how easy to get to MyconneCT, and we'll walk through the different ways of filing the pass-through entity. We're not going to get into the return. Hopefully that's going to come soon in the next series, but I'll show you how to get to the summary page of MyconneCT, how to create a username and password, and some easy steps how to make payments and to send a correspondence to the department. So there's some easy ways to get to MyconneCT, and one of them, you can just simply go to Google and type in Connecticut Revenue Services MyconneCT, and then click on the hyperlink MyconneCT, or you can go to the department website, which is Connecticut Revenue Services, by entering in the URL portal.ct.gov/DRS. Once you're on the Connecticut Revenue Services webpage, under the most popular, there's a hyperlink there that says MyconneCT, file, pay, and register taxes online. All right, so once you click into that hyperlink, that will bring you into the MyconneCT homepage. Before we get into the create a username and password, I do wanted to point out some other features that we do have on the MyconneCT non-logged on page. We do have individual panels for those of you who are filing like 1040 and all of that good stuff. This is the, we're filing season now for filing 1040 NRPY, make payments, extensions, and raise my refund, 1099G. All of them is located here. For the business filers, if you need to register with the department, we have the new business need a CT registration number, and that's the link you'll be clicking on. You can make a bill payment by using a letter ID. There's no need to log in. We also have some good additional resources here. Check it out when you have some time. We also have tutorials that how to create a username, how to file certain returns, and a lot more tutorials to offer. If you forget your username and password, let's say if you forget you create a username and password today, you come back next week or a year later, you will utilize the forget username and password hyperlink. And this, you will be able to enter once I click into it, you'll enter your email address that you provided when you create the profile, and we'll send you your username in your email inbox. Or if you forget your password, we will send you a hyperlink so you can reset your password. All right, let's go ahead and click on create a username. Here are the username requirements, and today we will be doing a business user. I'll go ahead and select business user. And now it's going to ask me for my Connecticut registration number or federal ID number. I'm going to go ahead and enter Connecticut registration number. And I'm going to go ahead and enter that number. And then it's going to ask me for the legal business name or taxpayer's name. Once I enter that information, that's my first step of validation. I'm going to go ahead and click next, and this will bring me into the second validation page. I'll select one of the validation methods. So I'm going to go ahead and I do have a PIN number from the department. So now I'm going to enter my PIN number. And once everything looks good, I was able to click next and get to create a username. Enter all that information. Please note on the right side, the password requirements to create a password. confirm my password, and security question here. And now everything looks good on this page, so I'm going to go ahead and click next. This is just a warning that I already used the email address on a different username, which is fine, and I just have to acknowledge yes to that. Click next, profile summary, and click submit, and I'm all set. Now I created my username in the system for MyconneCT to log in. So now I'm going to go ahead and enter that username. And I'm going to go ahead and click login. For the first time logging into MyconneCT, you will be prompted with a two-step verification. The two-step verification is just an extra layer of security, so feel free to set it up if you like. You can add your phone number, your email address, or you can set up the two as an authentication app on your phone. Or if you don't want to set it up now, you can always come back and go to manage my profile once you log into MyconneCT, and you can re-enable that. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and disable the two-step verification process. All right, I'm in MyconneCT, and this is how, when you logged in, this is how your summary page will look like on MyconneCT. Upper left side, you see my name, registration number, my business address. On the right side, you will see it says Welcome Randy PSC. Okay, you've probably heard all about my the composite income tax and the pass-through entity tax for my colleague. Now I will show you once you log into MyconneCT where to locate those. So the first one that's going to pop up here in the summary page is the composite income tax. And if you scroll over to the right here, you have that file now, hyperlink, and this is the hyperlink that you will click on when you wanted to file your return, and this is how the return looks like. But we'll not go through the return. So I'm going to go back to cancel that out and go back to my summary screen. I do want to point out that if you would like to file an extension for the composite income tax, we have that file and extension hyperlink. The view file returns and view period details. Let's say if you do wanted to amend the return, you can always click on that view file returns and view period hyperlink and then select the period that you would like to amend and file all the way to confirmation. If you'd like to make a payment, you can do so here as well. If I scroll on to the second column here, I have the pass-through entity, and you can see, I'll make that screen a little bit bigger for you here. You can see it says for tax years beginning on or after January 1st, 2024, this return is optional. You do not need to complete this return if you're only filing or receive a refund of the payments made under this tax. Instead, please enter the total payments Part 1 Schedule A, Line B of Form CT 1065-1120 SI, Connecticut Composite Income Tax Return. And again, here we do have that file now link for the pass-through entity. We have that extension, estimated payment, make a payment, and if you would like to file prior returns, amend returns, you can click on the view file returns and period details. So for example, if I click on the file now for the pass-through entity, there's also a little description here saying this return is optional, and the wording will tell you here what to do next. All right, I'm going to go back to my summary screen here, and I will go ahead and show you some additional features that MyconneCT has to offer. So for example, the Action Center. So the Action Center is very useful. So if there's a return that's due in 5 days or overdue in 15 days, we will send you a notification and let you know in your Action Center, also in your email inbox, to let you know that you do have an important message from the department. So once you logged in, you click into the Action Center, and you can see any letters that the department sent you or any return that needs to be filed or overdue. We also have the More tab. The More tab is a lot more to offer here. You can manage payments and returns, search prior submissions, on the taxpayer updates. You can manage names and addresses. You can update your name and addresses, and it's done instantly. You will see the changes right away in MyconneCT. You can add additional accounts and locations. So for example, if you register for pass-through entity or any other tax types, and now you have employees and you wanted to add withholding or sales tax, you can do all that right in MyconneCT here by click add additional accounts and locations. You can close your accounts, reopen your accounts. You can even add and update officers. The correspondence panel, I'll talk a little bit more on that. So you can view letters, you can send a secure message to the department, you can add attachments, you can request a good status letter here as well for your business. But I'm going to go ahead and click into send a message. So if you like to send a message regarding the composite income tax and the pass-through entity tax, you can click on send a message and then you will locate. So for example, I locate the composite income tax here, click on the composite income tax, then I'll have all the different periods listed here. Let's say if the message is not specific to a period, you do not need to select one of the period. You said this message isn't concerned to a specific period. Drill into that. And then if you scroll to the bottom of the page here, you'll see CT composite income tax return, CT pass-through entity tax return. Once you drill into that, it'll bring you to create your message. And in the bottom, we do have like an attachment section. You can attach any documents on here and send it securely to the department. And we will respond you back with your message. Okay, I'm going to return back over to my summary screen. So today I showed you how to easy to get to MyConnect. Just go to Google, just type in the Connecticut Revenue Services MyConnect, click on the hyperlink, or you can just go to the portal.ct.gov/DRS. There's some features that we do have. You can make payments, bill payments, file certain returns on MyConnect. You do not have to log in. Creating a username and password, logging in here, showed you where the composite income tax is located and the pass-through entity. Both of them are here. The pass-through entity is optional, but you'll read up more on that. Also, I showed you how to correspond to send a message to the department regarding the composite income tax and or the pass-through entity. All right, that's all I have to offer today and show you, and thank you all for listening. And back to you, Mr. Carter.
Well done, as always, Randy. Great job. Thank you for that information, and happy birthday again. Let's see what we got coming up now. Oh, yes, we have Kelly. Sorry, Kelly, I didn't forget you, I promise. But we have Kelly McLaughlin here, and Kelly is going to give a brief tour of our Taxpayer Education Center. Good morning, Kelly.
Good morning, Mr. Carter, and thank you. All right. Today I'm going to give you a brief tour of the DRS Taxpayer Education Center and then show you how to get to some of the helpful resources for pass-through and composite tax. First, though, let's take a look at the DRS Taxpayer Education Center. That can be found halfway down the homepage at portal.ct.gov/DRS. The Taxpayer Education Center was created through the lens of a Connecticut taxpayer. The TPEDC provides informational videos and other educational resources like any registration for any upcoming webinars and new business flyers. We have videos that are specific to navigating our website, and then there are 2 video series, one for Connecticut residents filing and paying the income tax, and the second series is for part year and non-residents filing and paying Connecticut income tax. Finally, at the bottom, we have a section for live webinar recordings. And in about a week's time, the recording of this webinar will be posted. Videos will be added and updated often to reflect the most asked questions from taxpayers. The videos provide a quick and easy walkthrough of the topic presented. Now I'm going to show you how to access some of our additional pass-through and composite resources. I can access them from here in the gray box, or I can go back to my home page. I'm going to select for businesses. And on the information for businesses, this is where you're going to access the composite income tax information and the pass-through entity tax information. You can select the link for either topic, and you'll be brought to a landing page that shows you all the information. Each page includes links directly to headings. So for example, if I wanted to, on the pass-through entity tax information page, go down to which order to complete the schedules, I'm going to select that hyperlink, and it brings me directly to the bottom of the page. I can also take a few minutes to read through all of the information. Next, from here or from the composite information page, I can select forms and instructions, and I'll be brought to another website that shows me the pass-through entity tax forms and the composite income tax forms and instructions. Finally, again, I can use my gray box on the left-hand side to look for the statutes. In order to find the statutes, I'm going to select the Research Library option. And under Research Library number 1, Statutes, I'm going to click the blue link, Connecticut General Assembly, and it'll take me out to the General Statutes and Public Acts Library. Finally, the last thing I want to show you is our brand new e-assistant inside of MyconneCT. In order to access the e-assistant from the DRS homepage under Most Popular, I'm going to select MyconneCT, File, Pay, and Register Taxes Online. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a little robot named Connie. If I click on this icon, it'll open up and begin a new chat session. I can click on the most popular topics below, or I can ask the chat a question. For example, where can I find pass-through forms? And the DRS e-assistant will link me out to the forms. You can ask it a variety of questions that'll give you answers. Thank you, and now back to Mr. Carter.
Excellent job there, Kelly. Thank you for navigating us through all that and bringing to our attention our e-assistant, Connie. Quick question for you on the videos about what's the running time on those?
Videos run anywhere between 2 to 6 minutes. There's a few that are a little bit longer, just because it took us a little bit longer to kind of explain the information.
Very good. Understandable. Thank you. Good to see you again. All right. Let's pop Crystal back up so we can get to that darn Q&A we've been promoting through the whole thing. There she is. All right. Fantastic. Here we go, Crystal. Question number 1. What if I made estimated payments under the pass-through entity tax, but I don't plan on filing a pass-through entity tax return?
Great question. So if the taxpayer is still conducting business in Connecticut, they would still have a requirement to file a composite return. We have a line on that composite return that would apply any overpayments from the pass-through entity tax. And if they are choosing not to file a pass-through entity tax return, they can just input the total amount of payments, which would most likely be estimated payments, on Part 1, Schedule A, line 5B on that composite return.
Very good. You're right. I like that one too. That is a good question. All right. Question number 2. Can I apply an overpayment from the composite return as an estimate for 2025?
Unfortunately, no. And the reason being is that there are no estimates required for the composite tax return. So any overpayment resulting from a CT 1065, CT 1120 SI composite income tax return would be directly refunded to the pass-through entity.
All right. Excellent. I'm holding here the last question. What if all the members are residents? Do I still have a requirement to file a composite return?
A composite return, yes, regardless of the types of members, as long as an entity is conducting business in Connecticut or receives subsidiary income where an entity is operating in Connecticut, there's still a requirement to file a composite return, even though there wouldn't be a liability due.
Excellent. Thank you, Crystal. That was fantastic information. And thank you to everybody that was out there presenting today. Job well done. That's going to conclude our webinar today, folks. Thank you for making us part of your morning. think we said we'd get it under an hour. We got it under an hour. Fantastic. Okay, so if you do have any questions and you feel like you want to contact us, please do so. Our phone numbers, there we go. That's the screen I'm looking for. Our phone numbers are 860-297-5962. You can also reach us at 1-800-382-9463. If you want to send us an email, by all means, zap us. Our email address is drs@ct.gov. Please, you can also use MyConnect as well. I almost jumped the gun there. I want to talk about the website so much, but you can also send us a message through MyConnect as well. And please, by all means, visit our website for any information you might seek Connecticut tax-wise. Our web address is portal.ct.gov/, and please say it along with me, DRS. Our business hours are 8:30 a.m. through 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. I also like to draw your attention to the upcoming webinars for pass-through. We have 3 of them. Yeah, I'm going to run out of order again here. Sorry, Suzanne. But we do have webinars for pass-through coming up on Friday, February 7th, Friday, February 21st, and Friday, March 7th. All of those are Fridays, and the start time on each of them is 10 a.m. We also, as you can see, have webinars coming up on January 29th for the Connecticut income tax. We have pensions and annuities on February 26th, and EITC on February 27th, and another Connecticut income tax webinar just before the deadline on March 20th. We'll be sending out a survey, as Crystal mentioned a couple times. We'll be sending that out shortly after today's festivities are done. So we really would appreciate your feedback on that. My apologies to our colleague, Larry Festivo. Sorry, Larry, we ran out of time today. On behalf of my fellow presenters, I want to thank everybody for watching, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. And thanks to Suzanne and Kelly for punching all the buttons and knobs behind the scene to make today possible. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.